live on my pages as well. So we are here for the day 3 of the 90-day happiness challenge. Yay! Congratulations for making it here. Oh, there we are. I see me on there. Good. Once again, and go ahead and reduce. There we go. I'm just checking and playing this live on here so I can see if anybody's commenting as well. So that's fine. So, hello. Yes, mainly I'm seeing people comment on here because I want to be able to respond to you just in case that happens. So, cool. Welcome again to day 3. So, little recap. Day 1 was awesome. We got to explore ourselves a little bit to see how things were going with us, what we needed to change and accept change. Day 2, we decided that we were going to go ahead and practice mourning for the old self in a celebratory way. A lot of times we don't do that in this country, in many other countries, it just depends on your culture. And when we look at, let's just back up to a lot of indigenous cultures that were indigenous, as I mean not influenced by the Western world yet, we'll just say it that way, really celebrate life coming in and they celebrate life going out, right? And so that is a form of mourning. And when it's a form of mourning, but in a celebration way. So that when we think back upon the past, we have positive thoughts, positive memories that come through, positive emotions that come up with it, emotions of gratitude, of expansion, and etc. So that's the space that we're trying to get to then. If you haven't figured it out yet, this is not like any other happiness challenge. This is deep core work. So as we go from day to day, we're all building and getting you ready for changing your behaviors. So the first thing we have to do is get into the space of who am I and just accept that. Tracking. If you haven't figured it out yet, keeping a journal is a really good idea. Keeping track of where you are and how you feel is perfect. That's kind of why I ask you to post, okay? So if you're going to make a post for these, the hashtags of Matthew Embrey-McClain, Shamanic Happiness Coach, or again, 90-day happiness challenge are totally perfect. If you find another one, that's great. Just use all of those, but also tag the 90-day happiness challenge so that I can find you too. And using the online post as a way of journaling, because that's a way of expressing it and moving things through you. A lot of times we just think about things and we get them stuck inside of us and we don't let them out. And so they kind of build up and we're ready for releases. And that's great. Like we may need to experience maybe going out dancing or hanging out with friends, doing a game night, something like that, where we get to use and utilize a lot of energy, and that's a way for us to move stuff too. But what if, how much more powerful is that if we can do that in the moment? That's what we're talking about. So being able to be in the moment of things and go, whoa, right now I've recognized something that I can let go of, who I am, that is holding me back, and I want to be in this better space. So, moving forward into day 3. First things first, I'm gonna bring in some smudge. I love smudging because it feels so good. And I love torch lighters because they work so well. Feels good. Yes. Okay. And this is all for you too, whoever's watching. I'm smudging your space. I can see y'all in front of me, not really. But I can sense everybody who's watching or who's going to be watching continuously. So, recap on progress that I've seen from people from day 2. Super exciting. One person posted 5 things that they've discovered about themselves. So they're keeping track. They're noticing what's in their way. And then they've made resolutions or they've made statements and now they're putting it out there. So it's beautiful. And those, they made five statements. And the first one was be present even through the hard stuff. And that's amazing, to be present through the hard stuff. Like, we always want to check out when we're feeling uncomfortable. It's maybe your natural state of being. When things get difficult or whatever because of whatever programming you have going on back there, which we're changing, we're upgrading, hey. So through the hard stuff, what does that really mean to show up and be present for the hard stuff? Think about that for you. Okay, that's a great one. I'm just using this as an example. And then her second one was be authentic even when it's scary. So I gave the example of last time of being at the grocery store or something like that, and maybe you're wanting to show up in a different way and you haven't had the interaction that you wanted, but now we get to go forward and be like, wait a minute, I didn't like that, so I'm going to go ahead and rewind it and do it again. So completely being authentic, and maybe you misspoke, or you made a post that was wrong. All those things happen, and you can just totally go back and say, you know what, I'm going to own my shit, whatever that would be. The next one they put down is play big, even if they wrote lose people, and I'm gonna upgrade that and say, even when I recognize that the people around me are out of my alignment. And what we're doing right there is recognizing that people are at where they are. So if somebody's out of your alignment, but you're choosing to stay with them, chances are you're going to suffer a little bit. If you choose to stay in like super close proximity, okay? If we are going into this space where we're finding that we are in a different alignment and we need to find that tribe, then let's go ahead and be okay doing that. It can be scary. It can be scary, and that's totally okay. Because again, growth, we don't have to suffer through it, but we might just need to feel it, right? We might need to feel those feels instead of allowing them to get stuck. So the next one that they put down was hold space for myself to mourn. So they're realizing that they don't mourn as much, or they're not celebrating things on the way out. And so that's a great idea, is to just be like, you know what? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take half an hour or whatever it would be a day, maybe a week, and recognize where I need to just sit with what I'm letting go. And find the gratitude behind that. Okay, there's gratitude challenges, there's other kinds of exploration challenges like that you could do. But just in this space, just be grateful. Just bringing in gratitude, it changes your mind. So neuroplasticity science has shown that just by being in the state of gratitude for 30 days, which is something we're going to do for a bit, but you actually change the brain chemistry that you have, and you begin to look at the world in a completely different way. So pretty cool. The last one they put down is let myself not be perfect. And I'm going to go ahead and adopt that one too. I have a lot of perfectionism in my space, and you can probably see that I'm actually getting a little bombarded by this plant here, and that's kind of funny for me. Normally I would have scooted that back or modified where my chair is, but whatever. Again, I don't need to be perfect in this space, because happiness doesn't mean that you're perfect. Being happy with what's going on, it means that you're willing to ride the waves, and your outlook on things is different. Your outlook on things is looking into the space of gratitude and expansion, and where you're understanding that every moment is here for you, and it comes through you, and you can participate with it. And that's the space of true happiness, right? It's when you're feeling creative and you're like, yes, I just did this thing, but I'm also creative and it feels good. It feels like I'm going to honor myself. So totally powerful there. Another person, and this is totally cool. I love this person. They decided, I don't even think they realized what was going on, but they're participating in the challenge as well. And they decided to go clean out their garage. And so one of the things that we spoke on the phone actually about this. So again, if you guys feel like you need support, please hit me up. My phone number, my business number is on my page, the Facebook page. It is also on, which is Matthew Embrey-McClain Shamanic Happiness Coach, or you can go to shamanichappinesscoach.com and you can see my perfectly imperfect website, constantly changing. It's so beautiful when you learn how to do coding and website building yourself. Yay! But on there is my work number as well, and you can feel free to text me, reach out to me, or you can email me at matthew@shamanichappinesscoach.com. Any of these things, get a hold of me, and we can walk through some of the processes. Even if you're unfamiliar, or maybe you don't fully understand how day 1 and day 2 and day 3 are progressing, you can totally reach out and be like, I want to participate, but I'm not really sure how that looks for me. And we could do an exploration together. I'm totally down with that. So anyway, going back to this person, they decided to clean out the garage. So they took everything off the shelves and put it in the middle of the garage on tables and whatnot. And their idea was that we're gonna Marie Kondo this shit, where anything that is not serving them in this moment, they're just gonna get rid of. If it's not meant to hold space, if she's not meant to be the person holding space for that, then she's letting it go. And the really cool thing about this is that we all hold on to stuff, whether that's physical, emotional, mental, whatever it would be. And the idea behind clearing away those things is that you're making room for new stuff. Like, we all have basically these gigantic quantum computer processors up in our heads, right? And when we think about how much power, or how much, I guess you could just say power we're using, how much of that processor we're using, generally we like to use 100% of it as much as we can, right? We might be playing video games or watching a TV show or whatever, but we're using 100% of our capacity generally when we engage in the world. So if you think about that, you're using 100% of your capacity in every moment, right? It just may feel more comfortable at times because you're not being bogged down by things that you may or may not be needing to let go of, right? So in the space of letting that go, you open up room, you free the cache in your memory to refocus either deeper onto something that you're already focusing on, or you get to let something new in. And that's beautiful. That's exactly what we're here to do, to change things up and move stuff around. So they're like, this person said, you know what, I'm done with these. They don't serve me in this moment, and I'm going to align with abundance, because if I need something that I'm getting rid of in the future, it's just going to come right back to me. The universe will provide it. So they're already doing multiple layers of this challenge. They're already going into the future with this, but that's perfectly okay. They studied a lot on a lot of laws of attraction, so it's pretty cool. Totally exciting. I love the change. I love the growth. It's beautiful. So day 3 now. We have gone through a self-examination. We've gone through allowing ourselves to start to mourn for the things that are leaving our space. And now we are going to go ahead and examine and just keep track of how we react when energy is moving through our field. You notice that I'm not asking you to do crazy things out in the world yet. We're setting ourselves up for a foundation. I am super, super proud to be in the space of ethically building people up, because I don't want to send you out there with an assignment that you don't have the foundational tool set for. So it's one of the reasons why my Friday meditation groups, it's built on foundational work, and I don't push people beyond where they're ready. And I always make sure that our expansion is nice and steady. Okay, it's not overwhelming. We may be overwhelmed by the situations we are incurring. However, the process isn't additionally overwhelming. Okay. So for day 3, we're going to spend the time to witness how our reactions and our emotions, our energy moves through as we are lifting things up. Okay, much like our friend has emptied the shelves in her garage and put everything on the table, that is a process, and that is something that kind of happens on the energetic and emotional level and mental level too, within our psyche, within our space and our environment. And so what we're noticing is, was I more agitated yesterday? Was I more excited? Was I melancholy? Could I not focus? All of these different things. And we're also looking for the spaces that, how should I say, where old patterns and habits come up. And that's the bigger part to keep track of, is how am I reacting in the presence of letting go of this situation or transitioning from one situation to another. When we are in that space, we tend to fall back on old programming or just programming that we have that makes us act in a certain way. So maybe we're going through some emotional releases or whatever that would be for you. And however an emotional release would look for you. And let's just say we're shifting a friendship relationship, right? We're shifting the energy around that. Maybe we understand that the way that I've been showing up isn't on par or isn't completely in alignment with the caliber of person that I'm wanting to be, but that this person is, Or maybe I'm wanting to be and operate at a much higher caliber of a person, whatever that may look like for you, but this other person that I'm around, we're just not the mesh, right? And that doesn't mean that we're going to like run away or anything of that nature. We're going to eject this person from our lives. We're just understanding that if we spend a lot of our time together with that person, then we're the one helping to elevate them. And if they're not on the same path of growth as we are, then it's going to take a lot of our energy. So we're just going to be like, okay, I'm going to limit the amount of time maybe. Or in your group, your new circle, excuse me, in your new circle, you're going to want to devote more of your time. Really cool fun fact, and I think it's in multiple books. Stephen Covey, I think it's 7. Not used to getting up, but let's see, where's my book? Could be in a John Wayne Dyer book. Success Principles. No, where's my 7 things of happiness? Oh well. Oh, there it is. It's right next to this book. So I love Wayne Dyer. This one's Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. Love this book. And then the other one, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. That was right, Stephen Covey. I think it's in this one. It's been a while since I've read that one. But when you hang out with people, the 5 people that you spend your most time with is who you're going to start emulating the most. So taking that into consideration, going, oh, hold on. Okay, I'm at this level and I'm noticing that I'm wanting change and all these things. How am I reacting when I know that I'm not in alignment with this other person, right? And maybe it's all of a sudden I'm ghosting. Kind of not cool, right? Not very authentic, not very integral. Maybe I am making excuses to not hang out with them instead of just being honest with certain things, right? And lovingly, with integrity. Again, approach with dignity and leave with dignity, right? Maybe I'm too afraid to address this situation, and so naturally I go on to other habits, such as maybe one of the habits is eating, or maybe it's engaging in certain activities that exhaust you, that derail what your path is in the moment. So just keeping track, that's what we're doing for day 3. How do I emotionally handle myself, mentally handle myself, physically handle myself? What are my habits? What are the things that I'm engaging in as I'm moving through this energy and as I'm moving through these life changes, okay? Being aware of these things and being able to tackle completely what is appropriate for you in making sure that you show up in your authentic self. So again, coming back into happiness, coming back into joy, back into full self-expression. A lot of this activity, these activities in this first part, are going to be about confidence, are going to be about how you show up in the world. And when we are changing that around, a lot of our life changes, because we're chiseling away at this foundation that has supported us for so long, and we're like jacking it up with like car jacks or whatever, or building jacks, or whatever it would be, foundation jacks, and we're putting something different in its place, and then we're going to lower it back down. So we're getting used to this change. That's what we're doing for day 3, okay? In addition to this, I'm just going to say boost it up with some gratitude. A really cool idea is to integrate some type of gratitude in everything that we do. And so it's like finding meaning behind why this is so important to do. Why is it so important that I shift up my friendship circle? Or the 5 people that I spend the most time around. And you don't have to spend actual physical time with them, just that you interact with the most. So this could be on Zoom. This could be maybe you have a mentor that you are not in proximity to, such as utilizing mentors that put stuff on YouTube as well, or just on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. Those are all great resources too. Just understanding how much time you have in the day to be able to meaningfully interact with them and give them your attention. Give them a little bit more of your processor cache, right? Your RAM to this thing. So what was I going to do? Oh, the next thing is going to be a card pull, which I totally did ahead of time because I wanted to know what was coming out. And I wanted to feel the energy. Again, my process of like drawing this and going, oh, how is this affecting me? Because that really comes through. And I drew Skunk Spirit, and this is from the Spirit Animal Oracle deck by Call It Baron Reed. And let's see if I can get this placed well. I think I did. There's a camera right there. Hopefully you can see that. And the skunk spirit says, know your worth. For this one, it came up reversed. And what this means when it's reversed, it's generally just your guardian message, so to speak. And in that space, what skunk is asking you to do, I wrote down some feelings about it, so I'm going to make sure that I get to those. Make sure I touch all of those things. Okay. Skunk is asking you to show up authentically. It is asking you to be yourself. The skunk can't be anybody else, right? It's a stinky animal, but it doesn't actually think that it's like stinky, right? It just is who it is. Other animals or whatever may perceive that it's stinky, but generally, if they're not harming one another, they're not going to care. So in the space of, I'm going to exist in the world, I'm not going to harm anybody else, I'm going to be me, and I'm going to let my smell, whatever that looks like, but I'm obviously going for happiness and on expansion and wanting to bring merit to the world, so that's what my smell is, right? So what is your smell? Allow that to just permeate everywhere. And as you're doing this, it does take a lot of courage to know that as you're elevating, the people around you will notice this. So again, this is why homework is here today. So cool that I drew this after I assigned what assignment we're doing today. But in this space, when people are shifting and our frequencies or our alignments are moving, people who are at lower we can say lower or different frequencies. I only say lower as opposed to maybe you're raising your mental the way that you're talking to yourself, your mental vibration. And so how we would say I'm raising it is I'm not going to be so negative, right? So I'm not really trying to compare. I'm just talking about the state of being that somebody's in. And so we're not comparing. We're just in a different state. And the only way we can kind of show that is just by saying that maybe lower vibrational states are a little less beneficial and higher vibrational states are. So as you're transitioning into a higher vibrational state for yourself, for your greatest and highest good, everybody around you has an idea of who you are and how you show up in the world. And you are challenging all of that. When we walk through the world, a lot of times we actually don't self-register how we show up. We ask everybody else to tell us who we are. And that's not what we're doing here. We are becoming our authentic self so that we're happier. We don't need to have somebody else's happiness dictated upon me, right, or upon you. If I'm going to operate off of what somebody else thinks is happy and it's not in alignment with me, I'm going to suffer. And that's a choice, of course. We all have those choices. But I'm going to go ahead and choose to change that around. And so in this space, in the space of this changing in our frequencies or adjusting and moving around, this may mean that you become a mirror for somebody and you start to trigger them in some way, maybe. They become dysregulated, whatever it would be. And we all know how to trigger people, of course. We all know that we get triggered. And those are always those mirrors of how we can grow to love in that moment. So for them, you're elevating and maybe there's a trigger, or they're going to try to be like, no, you're not really like that, dude. But you're saying, actually, the way that you perceive me is a little bit different than how I want to show up in the world, right? The way that you perceive me, and you can say this to anybody, well, say it in your own verbiage, okay? This is coaching language. The way that you see me isn't actually how I want to show up. Is it okay that you let go of who you thought I was so that I can be who I know I am to be? That's pretty powerful, right? That's super powerful. Understanding that it's up to me to dictate how I show up in the world, not other people. And through this process, you will understand who is in alignment and who's not. And maybe it's up to you, for the greatest and highest good of maybe a relationship or a partnership or a workplace scenario, that you upgrade yourself, that you modify your foundation in this moment. Because everybody else around you is going to benefit from that. Everybody else is. The closer we are to the truth of how we're showing up and how we're being, the more honest we are. Clear is kind, as I believe as Gabby Bernstein would say. Clear is kind. And so when we go into that space, yeah, it might be a little the reality of the truth might be a little weird, but it's kind of odd, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to walk around and live in a world where I'm operating from a lie, from an untruth, right? If I'm operating from what makes another person happy, I'm not living my truth. I'm living their truth. And I'm going to act inauthentically to who I be. So it's going to feel weird. It's going to be different. It's going to be a lot more struggle. It's going to take up a lot more of my processing power up there than it would be for me to act like their happiness rather than it would be for my happiness. Again, so today was a little bit longer of a video. You're welcome. Big, powerful stuff. Dropping the bombs. So the first prize coming up, okay, is going to be after 30 days, and it's going to be just a free session with me. And that could be a Reiki session, it could be a shamanic illumination session, it could be a coaching session, it could be a conglomeration of all of those things, okay? So it's totally up to you and what you would like to redeem. But those people who participate or make those 30 posts are all eligible. Y'all go in into a raffle, so to speak, and then we get to draw from that, okay? So this doesn't mean that you have to participate, how do I say this? If you're showing up late, totally cool. No big deal. Just go ahead and complete days 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now you're on 3. And it just means that you didn't have to spend that much time in there, okay? Or, which is more likely, most of you are probably still on day 1, 2, and now you're still on day 3 because it's a fluid movement. Okay, we're going to go back and forth and bounce for a bit until we do a little bit of ceremony. Wink, wink. And I'm going to help you with that too. So the first ceremony is going to be, I believe it'll be on the new moon. I don't have my phone around me, but it should be in the middle of November. And so I'm going to have a little bit of a fire going in my tiny little cauldron. And we're going to do a little bit of fire ceremony release. Okay, I'm just going to burn some stuff for you guys, and you can participate in the quantum realm however you like, whenever you get to it. But for today, there we go. That's how we get built into the first drawing. Okay. As well, I just want to break down, as you can see, this is not a normal happiness challenge, so going into the spaces, I'm asking you to play super big in this space, okay? Super big. Any session you get with me too, don't expect anything less. I don't do frou-frou. I don't do the easy stuff. We're doing real stuff in this space. So as we're moving through, really understand that this is a process. We're allowing this entire change to happen with, I like to borrow from Michael Sandler. I just heard it from him first, and probably it wasn't his original, but kind, easy, gentle, good. Kind, easy, gentle, good. If you need a mantra today, just start doing that. Just say, kind, easy, gentle, good. I want this to happen with kindness, with gentleness. I want this to happen easily, and I want this to happen for my greatest and highest good. Super easy. So, is there anything else I need to cover right now? I don't think so, but I am called for some reason. There's some to do some juniper as well. So I like to use metaphysical paraphernalia, as it would be said. And this is just some juniper. That feels good. Some juniper. This helps to, how should I say, commune with spirits a little bit more. So if you got some prayers or anything like that, you can say your prayers, light some juniper, say some prayers, whichever. And you'll notice a little bit more help, a little bit more ease and comfort into that space, okay? So yeah, here we go. Day 3. Welcome, welcome. And congratulations. We are just starting imagine by day 30 how different you're going to be, by day 60, and then also by day 90. So just all crazy stuff. So for support again, and I encourage you, come to or sign up through Good Elephant for the Compassionate Mindful Meditation. Loving, it's the internet one, Loving, I forgot the title of it. I'm just amazing right now. Perfectly Imperfect. Loving ourselves more, something of that nature. Anyway, you'll find it on Good Elephant. You can just go to goodelephant.com, make your profile, select the day, and it's going to be tomorrow at 6 o'clock, relatively at 6 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and do an awesome loving kindness meditation to help us just bring in some of that emotional support, the loving support. And also we're going to discuss like what's it like for you going through this challenge, or what's life like for you right now. We're just going to open it up so that we can all be witnessed, okay? We're only going to be there, of course, a little bit less than an hour. I always want to respect your time. So we're going to go ahead and do that. If we need more time support outside of that, again, hit me up. If anybody who's local in Reno is wanting to connect with us for any of our the meditations, the Friday meditations, those ones, there are Compassionate Mindful Meditation, and it says Foundations of Meditation. That one, it only happens every other week because you need the integration time after we've done the gathering. And currently, this week is filled, so the week of the 20th is halfway full right now. I already know, because I could see my roster, so it's going to be filled probably by Friday or so. So if you're into that, if you want to participate, it's over at Earthy Energy, 1023 Rock Boulevard, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. about. Please sign in through Good Elephant. You don't need to show it up on Facebook. I have the participants disabled, so it doesn't really matter in that space. I think that's everything for today. So, the last thing I should say that is coming up, and I'll announce this a couple more times, but the last thing I should say is if you are wanting to do even deeper work, we're doing a lot of happiness work right here, but we're not doing future work, let's say. And this means, like, what does your year look like? What does next year look like for you? Today's a very important day, election day. Hello, get out there and do your vote. But once we get on into the next year, the next 2021, how are you gonna be? Who are you gonna show up as? Like 2020 totally threw us all for a loop. So we're gonna go ahead and bring in that randomness. And I'm gonna say, how do we protect ourselves or align ourselves to be in the space of change and still be successful? So that's going to be incorporated into the shamanic manifestation workshop that's the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And for those people, the shamanic manifestation workshop is 3 days of intense integration of knowledge from so many different sources. You just saw me pull 2 very effective books off my bookshelf, and there are 50 more that I've gone through. So there's a lot of programs, a lot of bits of knowledge and wisdom that I am bringing together for this amazing workshop. We're going to, of course, build a vision board because it's really good to be able to see what you're going for. And so there's a few ways to do that to make the energy flow on that board a little bit better than perhaps what you're used to. That's just a small part of what we're doing. The rest of it is actually self-exploration to how you're showing up and doing, and how we think we're showing up, and then how we actually are, and then kind of doing a little bit more of self-exploration into our programming. Day 3 of that one, congratulations, everybody, if you're aligned to it, gets to participate in the Reiki 1 and 2 class. So I'm going to teach my the first class of the year on the 3rd, and that's going to be fun. I'm loving that part. I just love teaching energy works and modalities and whatnot, so it really helps to lighten us up. So that one's included in there. So check out that on the Facebook page. It should be up on Meetup as well, but we'll see. Anyway, I love all of you, and again, reach out if you have any questions, needs to support. Make your posts. You may feel like, oh, I don't want to do that. That's part of journaling. That's part of just getting energy out of there. It's part of moving things through. So go ahead and do that. Move the energy through. Don't let it stay stuck. Okay. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. So, without further ado, everybody enjoy your day. Go throughout and just be awesome. Be happy. Be in your space. Be in your space of change and upgrading. Okay. I love you all. With light and love. Namaste. Thank you so much. Yay.